it's all mind stuff. That is, whenever you think about your life, it's that kind of thing. It's a story in your mind, in your head, my life. And it's always problematic. There isn't a single person, including myself, whose life does not have certain challenges and problems. That never goes away. Their life situation is always problematic. And with some people it's somewhat problematic, and with others it's extremely problematic and difficult, like perceived as a burden. My life is just such a burden to me. So much so that some people want to end their lives because they perceive life as such a burden. But that life is a life that consists of mind formations, thoughts in the head, including the future, thought in the head. The past, again. Does the past exist? Yes and no. Where is it? You have to remember it, then there's past. If you don't remember it, there's no past. And what is a memory? It's a thought form. So these are thought forms. They are fine. You can't do without them. You can't say, I'm never going to think about past or future again. We could never have met here if you had been so present that you abandoned all thoughts of future and say that I hope one day accidentally we are all going to bump into Eckhart together at the same time, and then we'll have a retreat. Let's give it 1,000,000 years, and then it could happen. So it was helpful to have time to come together here, but do we need to be consumed by that? Do we need to seek our identity in that? Or is it totally misleading? Are we totally misguided if we seek our identity either in looking back to the past or looking forward to the future? That's all, I call that your life situation. Your life situation consists of time and thought. And of course you have one, your life situation. And I differentiate that from your life. Your life is more vital, more direct, more immediate, and infinitely more real than your life situation. Your life is now. So if millions of people on the planet feel consumed by their life situation, and they constantly think about all these things that demand their attention, one thought after another, so it prevents them from being in the present moment, the only place there ever is. There's only the present moment, but your life situation obscures the present moment to you. But the present moment is the only portal out of that trap. So I recommend to anybody who feels burdened by their life problems, and who doesn't, are all your relationships going well right now? Is all your work situation going well? Your living situation, your financial situation, your health situation, is it all absolutely wonderful and perfect? Well then, just wait a little. But most of you would say, no, there's something not quite right there and something not quite right there, but those are the challenges, and that's fine. You need them, because without the challenges you would go to sleep. Everything is so great. Nothing to worry about. I can buy anything. I can do anything, go anywhere. And then the ego builds up, and you become the most obnoxious person you've ever seen, but you don't know that. Again, I read recently this guy who inherited his family's hotel chain. I'm not mentioning the name. He got arrested for third or fourth time. This time it was for drunken driving. And he said to the policeman, "Do you know who I am? My name is, and you better respect that." Okay, there's a huge ego. when he's in for a lot of suffering that he's going to create for anybody who comes into contact with him, and also primarily for himself. Does that mean he's not going to spiritually awaken? No. He may spiritually awaken, but the very thing that seemed to make his life so superficial and make his life so easy, that very thing becomes his greatest challenge. So it's never easy, even if it seems you've been given all the advantages in life, all the things have been handed to you, you never have to make an effort, you become totally spoiled brat, and you think, oh, isn't that great? No challenges at all, and then the absence of all challenges becomes your biggest challenge. And so you don't escape the challenges. And that's good. Life is hard. Life is not easy for any life form, from the smallest to humans, and it's probably hardest for humans because they have their mind. So you're continuously challenged by external events, and you're continuously challenged by your own mind. The first thing you tackle is your own mind, so that all the problems that you think you have, you make sure that there's some real challenges there and not some pseudo problems generated by the mind, by the incessant, useless overthinking of the mind, so that you wake up in the middle of the night and worry about things that's not happening but might happen, as an example. So these are not real problems, they are pseudo problems, but it's still a huge challenge because you are being challenged by the unconsciousness of your own mind. And that is to be tackled primarily. Once you look through that, then you are no longer in the grip of, at the mercy of your own mind and its conditioning. So awareness arises, presence arises, then less and less do you get challenged by your own mind, which creates pseudo problems, including overreactions to events, thereby amplifying the events and transforming an external event into suffering. I often give the example of when you have to wait for something, you get irritated and you get angry. That's called suffering. It's a form of suffering. Not realizing it's not created by the event, it's created by my mind. The moment you don't interpret the event as bad, it is as it is, you're not suffering. You might still be uncomfortable, but that's not suffering, it's not misery. You're just uncomfortable. Maybe your back hurts, you're standing there, or whatever you're doing. No suffering. The suffering is the psychological level. So go to any situation, see how much of your suffering, unhappiness, misery, whatever you want to call it, does it arise from a true situation, or is it the mind creating it for you? There's no problem ever in the deep I. The problem is when the deep I gets obscured by useless mind stuff. So whenever you enter the present moment, and you should do that frequently, so that your consciousness is not absorbed completely by your problematic life situation. Step out of your life situation, which exists in the head, into life. So there's your life situation, past and future, and there's your life, which is now. But it's not your life. We just use those words. It's not your life because you don't have one. Because if you had a life, there would be two of you and life. But you are nothing without life. You are life, and life is consciousness.